family, another Tai Chi Tuesday, and we are looking at mental health through movement health. So, in the Eastern tradition, there's many instances where two things are known as one, not two. They can be looked at and viewed as two, but also in function, they are one. In this case, the mind and the body are two, but they function as one. The night and the day are two, but they function as one to give us our daily experience. The earth and the sky are two as one because they form three powers along with the human race and species as one in function. The left hand and the right hand are two, but when we move and manifest our energy, they function as one. Man and woman come together, and egg and sperm come together, two as one as two. And in this same respect, in this same relationship, the mind and the body, the mental energy center and the physical energy center function two as one. So when we talk about mental health, let's start moving. We cannot separate the body experience from the mind experience. And the Chinese scholars and the Chinese healers understood that we have a material dimension and an immaterial dimension. The yang, material dimension, and the yin, immaterial dimension. The dimension that we sense and feel is of the yin. Our thoughts, our memories, our emotions, our feelings and sensations are of the yin dimension. And it is from the yin dimension where the yang manifests. We think that what we see is ultimate reality. What we hear, what we see, what we hear, what we taste and touch is of the material plane. But in fact, all of the material comes from the immaterial. So yin gen and yang gen, yin dimension and yang dimension, if you look at the yin yang symbol, this is what the Chinese scholars knew our reality was made up of. So when we talk about mental health, the mind and the psychology and the emotion are of the yin side, but we can't separate it from the yang side, the material, the body. And so when we talk about health, we have to look at movement because, for example, when you are interpreting your mental state or your state of being, aren't you using the body to determine what it is you feel like? Aren't you using the nervous system, which is running all through the body, to determine what you feel like or what state you're in? And so this is where Qigong comes in, because the state that Qigong tries to cultivate is a state of ease, calm, stillness, and centeredness. In Qigong, we're always trying to promote relaxation. From relaxation, we get the ease and the calm and the centeredness. Relaxation is a mental state. Relaxation is the Qigong state, and relaxation is the meditative state. So if you want to have mental health, my recommendation is to pursue the Qigong state. And we're going to look through all of that. We're going to cultivate the Qigong state through these Qigong movements here in Taiji Tuesday. So if you are just joining, thank you. I'm Javi. If you don't know my story, I lived and trained up on the mountain with my teacher in a full-time discipleship program for 9 years, letting it fly out. And we trained daily from 6 to 6, Tai Chi, Qigong, meditation, and Kung Fu. Shake your arms out, shake your wrists out, shake your elbows and shoulders. And now swing the arms. Shaking gets to the connective tissues, and then swinging the arms allows the elasticity to go into the joints and the tissues around the joints. We're going to be starting a 7-week mental health program here at the Bloom Room, 476 Pine Lane, Garberville, California, on November 7th. And we're going to be doing movement to cultivate a state of relaxation, ease, calmness, and stillness so that we can find center. If we find center, we are at a state of centeredness. So that looks like mental exploration, it's physical exploration, it's balance, it's frame, it's posture, it's stretching, because those movements give you the spectrum of movement that allow you to find and sustain that state of ease and calm. We're going to go through this short set here, lifting the heels. You're now turning to look around. In last week's, maybe the weeks before, I talked about the spine as a communication highway, not just physically for the extremities and for the nerves to go from the brain to the fingertips and to the tips of the toes, but also the spinal column connects the upper energy center to the lower energy center, the head and the gut. Science has confirmed that, and they've coined the term for the gut, the second brain. So what does that mean? That if your gut is healthy in the second brain, the first brain will be healthy as well. And so as I mentioned at first, there are many things in this realm that look like they're two, but they function as one. And so in this case, the mental upper energy center in the head pairs with the lower energy center in the gut, functioning as two. In the Tao Te Ching, they call it the Tao and the Da. Now, come back to center and alternate the toes, lifting up the toes. Be careful with that knee of the leg that's planted, because you're getting a little bit of a stretch in the knee joint itself. Unfortunately, Western medicine has separated ourselves, separated the body in so many professions and proficiencies. You have ear specialists, you have a brain specialist, you have a foot specialist, you have a knee specialist, you have a now mental health specialist. So, what is the mind? Try to ask teachers, try to ask psychologists, try to ask mental health experts. How do they define the mind? Because if we want to talk about mental health, we have to have a definition for the mind. Otherwise, how are we going to monitor the mental state? How do you know when you're in a low state or a high state, a calm state or an active state? Now, what I'm doing is swinging, got a little bit of a wide base, and going into a squat, a dynamic, loose squat here that requires the legs to hold the load of the torso, but also be flexible to the hips and the knees. And so, what we do in the body, we can do in the mind. The skills that we cultivate in the body are also the skills that we cultivate in the mind. So, for example, in Taiji contact Qigong, we cultivate skills of connection, listening, understanding, adhering, and sticking, and those help to build mental capacity and cognitive capacity as well. Now, I'm going to have a little bit of a soft fist, and I'm going to add a little bit of a massage as I swing the arms and give myself a little bit of a stimulation. I start at the top, at the shoulders, and then go to the ribs, breathing comfortably. And then the abdomen, and then the hips. And then I want to put 1 foot forward. Putting 1 foot forward, now this allows me to get into a little bit of another posture here in the hip. And then I'm going to switch legs. I can't exactly look at the comments, but I appreciate your comments. Looks like I'm having a good day. How's it going? Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking it out. We're talking about mental health through movement health. Now, I continue this, and I always start with the swinging of the arms because it's so good. We don't talk about the organs a lot. So, if the gut system is the second brain, don't we need to care for our organs around our gut system? And so, in order to do that, we have to add massage principles. Massage is easy, effective stimulation. Easy and effective stimulation. In Qigong, we use a simple open and close, twist, contract, expand to stimulate circulation. And it's actually circulation that gives us the foundation for health. Let's go into some hand movements here. We're going to close the hands, drop the hands. That's exhale. We're going to inhale just to about the belly height, and then down exhale. Inhale again, elbow height, and then exhale. Inhale again, shoulder height, and exhale. Now we're applying some soft Qigong movement. What's going to be the effect on the mind as we apply soft Qigong movement onto the body? Exhale. We're going higher and higher. Inhale over the head. Exhale, wave the hands. Controlled descent as you exhale. Now almost the fingertips are touching over the head. Inhale. And exhale. Controlled descent coming down. Very easy movement. All you need is repetition to get to the Qigong state, the meditative state, and that state of ease and relaxation. All you need is a simple movement, breathing, and repetition. And this is a simple, easy, ancient foundation for mental health. We're going to add the legs now. So we're going to sink down and bend the knees. And we're going to close the spine, looking down now, almost hunching. And then from the feet, we're going to push against the floor, extend, open the spine, and then open the arms. That's your long inhale. And then exhale, relax, control descent here. Inhale. And exhale. As mentioned, I'm starting a 6-week series, Mental Health as Movement Health. We're looking at the relationship of the mind and the body. Two as one as two. Just as the yin-yang symbol shows us, the light and the dark are encapsulated in a single circle. The left and the right hand function as one, but they are separate as two. Sperm and egg come together, two as one, and create a life form. The light and the dark come together to give us our day. And the yin and yang, yin jin, the yin dimension, and the yang jin, the yang dimension, the material, come together two as one. And the Chinese scholars knew this. They knew this and created the yin yang symbol to remind us. And you even have hero and villain. They function as one, two as one, because the hero and the villain come together to create a story. We're at the stage in our evolution where we need to transcend the simple story of hero and villain and see that we are all unified in the grand yin space, in the most silent, still, soulful space where we are all soul beings. This is the space that we need to invoke now at this time in our lives here. And if you are here in the earth realm, then you have a role to play in creating a space of calm, ease, relaxation, and centeredness. And it has to start with your own small universe, your heaven, your earth, and your humanity. With that, I want to thank you and wish you a blessed day. Remember, until next time, embrace the woo and may your chi flow smoothly.